morning students. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is the reproductive physiology. First, what is reproduction? Reproduction is the act of giving birth to offspring that resemble their parents. And this reproduction are of two types, sexual and asexual. Sexual involves the involvement of two parents, that may be male and female. And as a result, the union of male gamete with female gamete happens and results in the formation of egg or zygote. And from this egg or zygote, new individual is developing. And in the case of asexual, it requires involvement of only one individual for the development of its progeny, daughter, next generation. Okay, then what is gonads? Gonads, simply it means the primary reproductory organs present in male or female. The primary reproductory organ, or in the case of male or female, together we can call it as gonads. In the case of male, the gonads are testis. In the case of female, the gonads are ovaries. Okay, then accessory reproductive organs. These are the organs that help and support the proper functioning of gonads. That means they are supplement the functions of gonads. Next, we are going to see the human reproductive system. What are its main components? In the case of male, it is a pair of testes. In the case of females, it is a pair of ovaries. What is the function of these primary sex organs? Its function is to produce, store, and to nourish the developing gametes. Okay, then accessory reproductive structures. What is the role of the accessory reproductive structures? They include some ducts for transporting all these gametes, or some accessory glands are present. These glands are responsible for the secretion of fluids into these ducts for the easy transport of sperms. And also these accessory glands itself help in the secreting fluids to external genitalia. All these are the functions of this accessory reproductive structures. Now we are going to see the male reproductive system. What is the function of male reproductive system? To produce spermatozoa or sperm. A spermatozoa is otherwise called sperms. And next function is to transport the sperm or otherwise spermatozoa to the female reproductory tract. Only then the union of egg and sperm can occur to develop a zygote. Third function, what is to produce certain hormones that regulate secondary sexual characters. What is secondary sexual characters? Primary sexual characters are those sexual characters that we own from the time of birth onwards. They are called primary. At the time of birth onwards, what are the sexual characters? Each baby, even if it is a male or female baby, which are the characters it gained, they have from the time of birth. All those characters are called primary sexual characters. Secondary means those sexual characters develop after attaining puberty. That includes enlargement of larynx. In the case of larynx, become enlarged and form a special structure called Adam's apple. That we can is more visible in the case of certain males in those persons' neck region. And development of body and pubic and facial hairs. Pubic means area near to our genital portions. The growth of hairs in those areas. All these are regulated by these hormones. Then we need to know which are the accessory reproductory organs in the case of male. The first one is scrotum. Scrotum is a sac to carry or to contain the testis. The scrotum carry the testis. Then ducts. Ducts are the passages to carry sperm and seminal plasma to external area, external region. Then glands. Glands are responsible for the secretion of certain fluid, which is very essential for the movement of sperm. Then penis. Penis is this structure. Okay. Next, we are going to see more detail about the structure of testis. This is the testis. Have a look through this testis first. Understand and you have to grab this image in your mind while reading all or while going through all the points that I am going to tell you now. It's a shape. Listen to its shape. It is ovoid in shape. This portion ovoid in shape, and it is paired. Two testes are present. Position in prenatal. Prenatal means before birth. This testis is usually present or attached in the wall of abdomen near the kidney. Just before birth, it is descending down to the scrotal sacs. That means just before the time of baby's birth, only that testis is descending down to a position conveniently into that scrotal sac. What about its size? 5 centimeter in length. Length-wise 5 centimeter. Diameter-wise 3 centimeter. Next. Tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea is the capsule, fibrous capsule that enclosing the testis. Here we can see that fibrous capsule. Then mediastinum. Mediastinum is the thickened posterior wall of tunica. This tunica's anterior wall is the posterior. Posterior wall is thickened. That thickened posterior wall of tunica is called the mediastinum. Then lobules. What is lobules? Lobules means here is very clear. Inside that tunica albuginea are many lobules, small spaces, sac-like spaces we can see. They are called lobules. These are the lobules, this ash color region. Okay. What are lobules? They are thin fibrous partitions. To certain extent, we can clearly see in this picture also. It's a number between 200 to 300 inside the testis as lobules. And inside each lobule, we can see the seminiferous tubules. It's a highly convoluted tubule. Convoluted means ഒരുപാട് മടങ്ങി folded എന്നുള്ളതാണ് meaning. It's convoluted. Okay, seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules we can see here. They are in this picture also very clearly. We can see that it's how it is arranged. Highly convoluted tubule. Long, slender, convoluted tubule extending into the lobule. It extended inside the lobule. Then next, testicular artery and testicular vein. Artery means artery always carry pure blood. That means it supply blood to each lobule. Vein means it drains out impure blood. So it drains out impure blood from each lobule. That also we can see in this. Arteries, testicular vein is there, and testicular artery is there. Okay. In that way it gets the nourishments. Then Leydig cells. Leydig cells means inside the lobule, the space between the seminiferous tubule contains certain cells called Leydig cells. Leydig cells. And what is the function of that Leydig cell? To produce testosterone. Testosterone. What is testosterone? It is a male sex hormone. It is responsible for the development of secondary sexual characters. So, Leydig cell is that much important. It is located in the connective tissue surrounding the seminiferous tubule. This is the seminiferous tubules. In between that tubule, there is some area. In that area present this Leydig cells. Its function is to produce testosterone. This hormone is responsible for secondary sexual characteristics development. Then what about red testis? Red testis is a connecting tubular region. It is a connecting pathway between two systems. So here, what is the role of this red testis? This is the red testis here. It connects between what and what? It connects to this red testis. Each seminiferous tubules opens, and then which in turn opens to some efferent ducts. So red testis acts as a anastomosing channel, means a connecting channel between that seminiferous tubule and the efferent duct. All these seminiferous tubules opens into this red testis, and from there emanate a dozen of efferent ductules. That is red testis. It is an anastomosing. Anastomosing means it's a connecting channel. Okay. Red testis. This one. This area. It's more clear in this picture. This fibrous capsule again is through arrow it is showing, and that mediastinum, that thickened posterior region of that tunica albuginea. Okay, next this is a picture show the location of Leydig cells. This is a cross section of lobule. Lobule, I think is you remember what I explained to you just a few minutes before. Lobule is the sac that carry that seminiferous tubule. So these are the seminiferous tubule, as it is a cross section. And between that seminiferous tubule, certain spaces are present, connective tissues are present, and in that tissue present the Leydig cells responsible for the secretion of testosterone hormone. Okay. Then we are going to see vasa efferentia. Vas efferentia, I have already explained to you what is a vas efferentia. The dozen of tubules arise from red testis, and it opens to again a highly convoluted mass of tubule called epididymus. So this one is the efferent tubule, vas efferentia. Vas efferentia originate from red testis and join with the epididymus, again a thickened convoluted tubule. Vas efferentia is a dozen short efferent ducts arise from the upper part of mediastinum. Mediastinum also I have explained to you. These join to form a highly convoluted tubule called epididymus. I have shown you. This is one, the epididymus. Inside the epididymus, macrophages are present. Macrophages to kill unwanted foreign substances. That is the function of macrophages. Present to phagocytosis, dead and undischarged spermatozoa or sperm. What is the function of these macrophages? To phagocytosis, dead and undischarged spermatozoa. Then we are going to learn about the germinal epithelium of seminiferous tubule. Inside the seminiferous tubule, there present an epithelium called a germinal epithelium. That epithelium is composed of two types of cells. Okay, spermatogonic cells and Sertoli cells. These two type of cell form the germinal epithelium of seminiferous tubules. In other words, seminiferous tubules is composed of these two types of cells, spermatogonic cells and Sertoli cells. The spermatogenic cells actually produce the sperms or spermatozoa by the process called spermatogenesis. That means from this spermatogenic cells, sperms are forming. Then what about the Sertoli cells? They are large columnar cells. I will show you its image. Yeah, this is the seminiferous tubule. One tubule have taken and its cross section. Then we can see so many cell layers. That cell layers is very clear to you. Now I tell you the terms: Sertoli cells and spermatogonial cells. Again, this portion is enlarged and shown here. In this picture, it's very clear. We can see spermatogonial cells. These are the spermatogonial cells from where the sperms are forming, and Sertoli cells. They are columnar cells. These Sertoli cells are very important. It has numerous functions to perform. And this picture shows the structure of a sperm. Okay, we can return to our slide. Sertoli cells are large columnar cells. It is attached to the wall of the outer basement membrane of seminiferous tubule, where it is attached to the outer basement membrane of this seminiferous tubule. This is the basement membrane of the cell. It is attached to the outer basement membrane of seminiferous tubule and extending into the lumen of the tubule. And it extends towards the lumen. This is the luminal area of that tubule. Extend towards the lumen of the tubule. What is the function? Sertoli cells function is the cells differentiating into sperms usually embedded in the Sertoli cells. The cells that is differentiating into sperms remain embedded in this cell, and the Sertoli cell provide nourishment for that developing sperm. And also it protects the sperms by forming a barrier from blood and testis. And also it produces a polypeptide. That polypeptide enhances the sperm's motility. For increasing the motility of sperm, this Sertoli cell produces a polypeptide. Next function, it secretes inhibin. What is the role of this inhibin? It regulates spermatogenesis. That means the formation of sperm. How it regulates? By acting on follicle stimulating hormone. That we will learn later. By acting on follicle stimulating hormone. Next function, it produces androgen binding protein. What is the role of this protein? This causes the testicular cells to become sensitive to the androgen male hormones. With the help of this androgen binding protein, only then the testicular cells become sensitive to the androgens. And also it secretes anti-Mullerian hormone, very, very, very important hormone. What is the role of this hormone? To degenerate the Mullerian ducts in male. Mullerian duct are certain ducts. It is present at the initial stage of development in the case of male or female. Whatever it be, even the baby is a male or a female, in the initial stages of development, this Mullerian duct is present. By the development of the testis, then it is determined that the baby is going to be a male. Then that testis need to produce this hormone. From the testis, the Sertoli cells produce this hormone. This hormone go and degenerate the Mullerian duct in that baby. Otherwise, what will happen? This Mullerian duct may develop into female genital organs. So, it's a wonderful thing that as a whole, if that modification doesn't happen, normally all baby are girl baby. female. When I change the testis, as the development of testis happen, if such a hormone emerge, and with that, as with the help of that hormone, as this Mullerian duct is degenerated, only then the baby become a male baby. Totally. Otherwise, that baby may develop female genital structures. Mullerian ducts definition is given, explanations are given in this slide. Mullerian ducts are essential aspect of the development of urinogenital system. Initially, they are present in both sexes, but regress under the influence of anti-Mullerian hormone, which is produced by our Sertoli cells. This hormone is produced by the testis and serve to cease the development of female internal organs without the influence of AMH, that means anti-Mullerian hormone. The ducts develop into uterus, uterine tubules, cervix and upper one-third of the vagina. So, it's very necessary to degenerate the Mullerian duct. That function, that duty is done by this anti-Mullerian hormone secreted by Sertoli cells. And also the Sertoli cells itself doing the phagocytosis of dead and injured sperm. So, in that way, it's very clear that Sertoli cells is that much important. Next, spermatogonia and primaries of spermatocytes. Spermatogonia, I have already told you that they are the first stage of cells that giving birth to. And they are from that spermatogonial cells, sperms are developing. And we need to understand the orientation of developed sperms, in what pattern, what form, what way it is arranged inside the seminiferous tubules. In the picture we can see its head always pointed towards the wall of the seminiferous tubule and its tail directed towards the lumen. Head towards the Sertoli cells and tail towards the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. Then spermatogonia, that is sperm forming cell. It is found next to the basal membrane of seminiferous tubule. It's found next to the basal membrane of the seminiferous tubule. Some remain in this stage. In this stage itself, it remains. Some seminiferous spermatogonial cells remain in that stage itself as a source of new sex cells throughout the reproductive life of the animal. Certain cells remain as spermatogonia itself till the end of the reproductive life of the animal. That reproductive life, that is important because that reproductive period come to an end by certain age. So some spermatogonia move to the lumen of seminiferous tubule and enter next phase. That is called the primary spermatocytes. This primary spermatocytes then become sperms. Spermatogonia are present here. Some become involved. Some proceed to the developmental process, form primary spermatocyte, then secondary spermatocytes, and finally becoming the sperm. Then we are going to learn about the male accessory organs. Male accessory organs are ducts. They carry the spermatozoa and other secretions. Various secretory glands and then penis are male accessory organs. First, we need to understand the duct system. Before that, we should have an idea about the movement of the sperm that is formed inside the seminiferous tubule. The sperm is forming inside the seminiferous tubule. It moves to red testis. From red testis, it moves to vas efferentia. From vas efferentia, it moves to epididymus and then to vas deferens. The vas deferens is this tube. Vas deferens. Vas deferens. And this vas deferens and certain blood vessels unite to form sperminal tract. Next, sperminal types. What's its name? Uh, I will tell that name. There is some specific term for that. Anyway, spermatozoa first reaches red testis. Red testis, we know, it's a connecting tubular region between the seminiferous tubule and the efferent vesicle. And from the red testis, it enters vas efferentia. Vas efferentia, from vas efferentia, it reaches the epididymis. From the epididymis, it reaches vas deferens. Okay. Then this the vast difference again, some blood vessels and nerves united to form the this cord, spermatic cord, somewhat thick cord. And this spermatic cord then pass through the inguinal canal, is another duct, and it passes over the urinary bladder in the abdominal wall. It passes over the urinary bladder in the abdominal wall, and these two vessels from the two testis, it is possible to have two vas difference. Then two spermatic cord is possible. Clear? And these two cord unite to form an ejaculatory duct. Then that ejaculatory duct pierces through the prostate gland and enters the urethra that present inside the penis. With the help of a video later in the section, I will explain it once more. That time it will be very much clear to you. Then we are going to see the accessory glands. Accessory glands, supporting glands are seminal vesicles, corpus glands, and prostate gland. Except this prostate gland, other two are paired. That means two are present. And these contribute 95% of semen. Semen means that fluid that carry that sperm. 95% of semen is contributed by these accessory glands. Then we need to understand about seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle is this one and this one. And before that, we need to understand that I have already told you that the spermatic cord, where is that? Spermatic cord. Two cords are coming from one from one testis and the other from one testis. Okay, that two unite to form an ejaculatory duct, and this is the prostate gland, and pierces through the prostate gland and comes out and joins with the urethra. And as a continuation of this, penis is there, it is not shown here. Okay, so seminal vesicles are paired glands seen on either side of the lower side of the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is somewhat located in this position on a lower side, on either lower side of the urinary bladder present this gland, seminal vesicle. It secretes a viscous alkaline fluid which contain chemicals like fructose, prostaglandins, and ascorbic acid. Then secretion from the seminal vesicle is composed of fructose, prostaglandins, and ascorbic acid. Then what about this prostate gland? It's a large gland below the urinary bladder. What about its secretion? It secretes a thin, milky, alkaline secretion. Then one more gland is there, corpus gland. Bulbourethral gland or corpus gland. That gland is very clearly, we can see in this picture. This is the two corpus gland, and this is the prostate gland. Piercing through the prostate gland, ejaculatory duct is coming and it is entering to the penis. And at the base of the penis present this bulbous corpus gland. Corpus gland is otherwise called bulbourethral gland. It's a bulb-like appearance. What is its role? It secretes a thick, clear, alkaline mucus just before the ejaculation. Ejaculation means the expulsion of that semen from the penis. That action is called ejaculation. Then what is the function of this corpus, that secretion coming out from corpus gland? It neutralizes the traces of acidic urine resides in the urethra, because that ejaculation and the passing of urine occurs through the same pathway, that is the urethra. So before ejaculation, that tract to be neutralized. That neutralization is done by this secretion from corpus gland. It neutralizes the traces of acidic urine that resides in the urethra and also lubricates the penis before sexual intercourse. Before the sexual interaction, this secretion from corpus gland lubricates the penis. Then regarding the penis, what is the function? Function of penis to introduce the sperms in the female reproductory tract. That is the function of penis. Then what about its parts? It has a root portion is there, and the free body is there. That free body is called shaft, and that shaft ends in a sensitive tip called glans penis. All these terms you should be familiarized. Glans penis, and this glans penis is covered by a retractable loosely attached skin. It is called prepuce or foreskin. It's covered by a retractable, that means it is movable to backward direction. Retractable loosely attached skin is present over this glans penis. Its name is prepuce or foreskin. Then internal structure. This is the internal structure of the penis. It composed of urethra. Urethra is this one. Then three cylindrical masses of spongy erectile tissue. These tissues helping in the erection of the penis. And this ventral mass, what is the name of the ventral mass? It is called corpus spongiosum. It surrounds the urethra. And two large masses are present side by side. They are called corpora cavernosa. And all these masses are richly vascularized, means it richly supported by blood vessels, by three prominent vascular cords. Then innervation, and also the penis is supplied by sympathetic and parasympathetic. That means that erection is beyond our control. That erection happens involuntary, because it is innervated by sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. These nerves are centers of involuntary actions. That is actions beyond our control. Next, semen production and composition. Semen, whatever all its components, it consists of sperms are present in that semen, and seminal plasma, a fluid portion also present. And that fluid portion is formed from the seminal vesicle, prostate and corpus gland. Composition of the seminal plasma. It contains both organic and inorganic constituents. It contains certain basic amines like putrescine, spermine, spermidine, cadaverine, and all these responsible for the smell and flavor of the semen. And what's the function? It contracts with the acidic environment inside the vaginal canal of female. Okay. Then other components are amino acids, enzymes, flavins, fructose, prostaglandins, proteins, vitamin C, etc. These are the composites. So many other components are present that you can collect from your textbook while reading. Next slide. What is the function of this seminal plasma, that fluid portion that comes out along with the sperm? Its function is to protect and nourish the sperm during the journey through the female reproductive tract. That's a function. Then you need to know about the ejaculation amount. It varies from male to male. What's the amount of semen passed out by male during one ejaculation? That amount varies from male to male. In one normal ejaculation, 1.5 to 5 milliliters are passed out in one ejaculation. And that contains about 200 to 500 million sperms in one ejaculation. Then we are going to see a video. It will show you the organization of that male reproductive structure and its parts and all the accessory glands. So let us start to see that video.
Male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. It consists of a pair of testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands.
Here we can very clearly see all that ducts. From the vas deferens, it passes through vas deferens. That vas deferens blood vessel and nerves unite to form a spermatic cord and pass through lingual canal. That lingual canal is passing over the urinary bladder, one on either side. Then it become expanded forming ejaculatory duct here. And this one is the seminal vesicle, one on either side of this lower side of urinary bladder. And that ejaculatory duct passes through the prostate gland and enters the penis and join with the urethra. And in this region actually present the corpus gland.
And external genitalia. Testes are the primary sex organ of male and suspended in the scrotal sacs. Scrotum is a pouch of pigmented skin arising from the lower abdominal wall and hanging between the legs. It is divided internally to right and left scrotal sacs by a muscular partition called septum scroti. This is externally marked by a median ridge called raphe. In a fetus, the testes originate in the abdominal cavity just below the kidneys. But later during the 7th month of development, it descends permanently to the scrotal sacs through a passage named inguinal canal. Each testis is oval in shape and in adults it is 4 to 5 centimeters long and 2 to 3 centimeters wide. Testis is enclosed in a dense fibrous coat, tunica albuginea, inward growth of which divide the testes into around 200 to 300 lobules called testicular lobules. Each lobules consist of 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules.
These are the seminiferous tubules, and the seminiferous tubules opens to red testis. It is a connecting the tubular portion between seminiferous tubule and the vas efferentia. And this vas efferentia again then united with the highly convoluted epididymus. Epididymus then joined with the vas differentia. Then vas differentia and blood and nerves unite to form spermatic cord and pass through the linguinal canal.
Around 200 to 300 lobules called testicular lobules. Each lobules consist of 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. These tubules are lined inside by germinal epithelium.
Leydig cells.
Germinal epithelium consists of 2 types of cells, cuboidal cells called spermatogonia and pyramidal cells called Sertoli cells or nurse cells. Spermatogonia or the sperm mother cells produce sperms. Sertoli cells aid in the process of spermatogenesis by providing nutrition to the developing sperms. The interstitial spaces between the semifernous tubules contain small groups of large polygonal cells termed Leydig cells or interstitial cells. They secrete male hormones called androgens, especially testosterone. Testosterons are concerned with the regulation of the activities of male reproductive organs and secondary sexual characteristics, that is, facial hair, pubic hair, Adam's apple, etc. Accessory ducts of the male reproductive system include rete testis, vasa efferentia, epididymus, and vas deferens. The seminiferous tubules unite to form a network of tubules called the rete testis. It connects all seminiferous tubules with another set of tubules named vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia are 15 to 20 in number and are connected with the epididymus. They form the initial part of the epididymus. At some locations, they bear cilia to help in sperm transport. Epididymus is a tightly coiled tube, about 6 meter, located.
Here they are telling about 3 portions of epididymus that is not mentioned in your textbook. If you want, you can write up that names from this video.
Located on the posterior margin of each testis. The epididymus stores sperm temporarily. It has 3 regions: the anterior caput, the middle corpus, and the posterior cauda. Cauda epididymus is connected with the scrotal sac by a cord.
That cauda epididymis is lowermost portion of epididymis is connected with the scrotal sac by a cord. That cord is known as gubernaculum. It is also not mentioned in your textbook.
Known as gubernaculum. Epididymis leads to vas deferens or vasa deferentia. It starts from cauda epididymis, ascends to the abdomen through inguinal canal and passes over the urinary bladder. Vas deferens receives a duct from the seminal vesicle and forms a common duct, the ejaculatory duct, which finally opens at urethra. Seminal vesicles are paired and elongated glands at the lower part of the.
These are the 2 seminal vesicles, one on either side.
Urinary bladder that opens to vas deferens. They secrete seminal fluid which contains fructose, prostaglandins, and various enzymes. It is slightly alkaline and constitutes about 70% of the semen. The prostate gland is a chestnut-shaped gland which lies at the base of the urinary bladder. It surrounds the first part of the urethra. The secretion of the prostate gland, the prostatic fluid, is slightly acidic due to the presence of citric acid which helps in sperm motility. This secretion is also collected by vas deferens along with the sperms and is discharged to the urethra. Copper's glands or bulbourethral glands are pea-sized glands lying at the base of the penis and open directly to the urethra. Its alkaline secretion acts as a lubricant for penis and also neutralizes the acidity of any urine traces left in the urethra. This secretion is produced during sexual excitation. Secretions of all these glands are collectively called seminal plasma. Sperms along with seminal plasma constitute semen. Average volume of semen in an ejaculation is 2.5 to 5 milliliter. In males, urine and semen pass through urethra.
Okay, that's about the video. I think it's very clear up to this portion. Okay, next. Ejaculation. Ejaculation means before that we need to understand erection. What is the erection of the penis? It happens during sexual arousal. Whenever that person got that interest for having a sexual relationship, during that period that erection happens. What is the reason? Normal state, the blood vessels that supplying to that penis are constricted. As it is constricted, there is no enough blood inside that vascular cords. So the penis is very flaccid. It's not rigid. When excited, the inflow vessels become dilated and become filled with blood and develops a high blood pressure inside that penis and that spongy mass of tissues. And this results the erection of the penis. Then ejaculation. What is ejaculation? Is the discharge of semen from the penis. It is a spinal reflex. Spinal reflex means it's a nerve reflex with the help of sympathetic or parasympathetic nerves. That ejaculation have two phases. First phase consists of the contraction of smooth muscles of epididymis, vas differentia, ejaculatory ducts, prostate and seminal vesicles. And as a result of that contraction, what happens? It empties the sperms and the glandular secretions to urethra, till urethra. In second phase, what is happening? Expulsion of semen from the urethra is happening by the rapid contraction of urethral muscles. And at the same time itself, the urinary bladder sphincter that regulates the outflow of urine is closed. What is the purpose? To restrict the entry of any sperm into the urinary bladder or the mixing up of sperm with the urine. That need to be prevented. For that, the urinary bladder sphincter closed at the time of ejaculation and erection. What is orgasm? Orgasm is the sense of pleasure that obtained out of that due to that rhythmic muscle contraction happens during ejaculation. Okay, with this we finish today's section and class. Thank you.